Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to go through the stock market. I'm going to start out with a really brief coverage of the general indices. We'll look at the triple Qs, which is the tech sector. We'll look at the S&P 500, and we'll look at the financials and industrials. So that'll be relatively quick. Then I want to go into give an update on some of the individual trade ideas that I've pointed out over the last couple of weeks. So we'll go through that. And then just look at anything else that's really just generally interesting or potential trade setups that have not triggered yet. We'll go ahead and wrap there. So starting off here with the triple Qs on the daily chart, more of the same, just kind of continuing within this wedge on this daily chart. So we have this wedge right here. It really shows better on the hourly. You can see right here we're just grinding higher, down a little today. Well, basically flat from yesterday. No real technical change. So again, I'm not really interested in any of the price action that takes place bouncing around within this wedge. What I'm looking for is a technical break, one way or the other, of this wedge. I think the break's going to be to the downside. That's the opportunity to short. Of course, it could break to the upside, but I'm looking for downside breaks, and that really comes from the negative divergences that continue to build. So on the RSI, if I zoom in, you can see we're just continuing to trend down on the RSI, and the PPO. There's your PPO. We're just lower momentum on the PPO. This right here is a lower high than really the former highs, but mainly that one right there, and that's made on higher prices. So we have negative divergences on both the RSI and the PPO telling me we're going to break to the downside, but until we break, I'm not interested in the trade. So that's all on the Qs. Let's look at the S&P 500. Again, more, really just back testing this trend line from the March 2020 lows. You can see we held support here, support all through here, and then we broke. And we've just been back testing for about 2 weeks now. We've just been kind of grinding higher on really low volume, back testing the trend line with negative divergences intact. So there's your PPO. You can see how we're making trending down in the PPO, and there's your RSI trending down as well. Okay, so and while price makes higher highs, so higher highs in price, lower lows in momentum, indicating we're going to have a trend reversal, but we got to wait for it. So that's all I see there. Let's look at some sectors here. We'll start off here with the financials. Now the financials, we got a sell signal on the XLF a while back. Really pretty solid sell signal right in here. Where we broke trend and have not recovered that trend. So we had an upward trend on the daily chart, and we broke trend. We had negative divergences telling us that we were going to break trend, and then we got the break. All right. So and since that break, all we've been doing is flagging out. You break, you back. We're grinding around. So again, I still think we're heading lower once this sideways range resolves to the downside. I would say, if we're going to break the lows about 35, it's really about 35 in that area, a break of that, and we should continue lower. I don't see much support until we get down to about 31 once we break that 35 area. So looks like we're going to do it. Just got to give it time. Same with the industrials. Here's your March 2020 lows on the daily chart. Clear uptrend line up here at the highs. We had negative divergences. Again, a lot of people say the negative divergences don't work because they haven't worked yet. Like, in this time period, I would have been talking about the negative divergences, and I would have been talking about it for weeks. Because again, you're just grinding around here, weeks, with the negative divergences. Finally, they break, and once they break, the trade works. So here was your sell signal on XLI. We sold off about 5%. We've just been kind of bouncing. No indication that the downtrend is over. So as far as I can tell, we break, we bounce, we continue lower. All right. So again, everyone will, if it gets down here, everyone will say, oh, it's downtrending now. But again, that's not what I want to point out. I don't want to tell you after the fact that it's obvious that we're making new lows and heading lower. I want to tell you what I think in advance so that you have an opportunity to profit. The level of support that I see right now is about 101.50, a break of that, and I think that brings us down to 97.23 on the XLI. Okay, we're going to get into an update on some of these short trade ideas I pointed out. Before I continue, guys, if you could leave me a thumbs up. If you're finding value in the technical analysis and the stock trading ideas I'm pointing out day in and day out, leave me a thumbs up. They don't all work. I can't promise all the trades are going to work, but what I can do is give you a high probability setups and then, kind of help you manage the risk accordingly and give you opinions, my opinions, and also just how I'm trading them. So let's get right into it. Leave me that thumbs up. Let's talk about, I see comments when the market's grinding higher, and really we only have a few stocks really moving the markets, and it's the FANG stocks. A lot of stocks aren't actually moving higher. I just pointed out that a lot of these financials and industrials are selling off. So the FANG stocks can kind of hide the thin, really the weak market strength because they have such heavy weighting. But I get a lot of comments when the market kind of grinds higher on low volume, just kind of continually grinds higher, talking about how one particular person said how, a lot of my trade ideas are bear ideas and none of them work. None of them have worked. So I want to go through some of the trade ideas that I pointed out over the last few weeks, and we'll just, kind of blow up that comment with actual data. Kind of funny how real data actually, takes words and just blows it up. But we'll start it here with Ally Bank. So this is a uptrend line here. We talked about the negative divergences right up here. We got the sell signal right there. I have that circled. And this trade, if you took it at the end of the day, I took the trade early in the day because I saw it breaking trend. But even if you took it at the end of the day, you waited for that daily close, you would be profitable as of right now, 4.5%, a little bit more than that. Down at the lows, you were profitable by, quite a bit more than that. About 11%. So even, given the recent bounce, you're still profitable in this trade. That's a profitable trade idea I pointed out. Moving on, Boyd Gaming. And we talked about this one for weeks. As it was grinding higher, I kept watching it, saying I was looking at this as a short trade idea. We had negative divergences up here. We broke trend, and here's your sell signal, basically right in there. If you took it at the end of the day, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. If you took it at the end of the day on that sell signal right there, you are profitable today to almost 13%. Okay, there's another profitable trade I pointed out. CAR, I recently pointed this one out, which is Avis Budget Group. This is a relatively new trade, but we had the sell signal. There's your uptrend line in CAR. Negative divergences at the high. We broke trend right here, so there's your sell signal. Right there. If you took it at the end of the day, you're profitable today, right about 5-6%. So you're profitable 6% as of today on that trade. Moving on, Deere. You can see here negative divergences, uptrend line right there, and you have a sell signal or break in trend. Again, these are all trades that I'm short. I'm still short all these trades. So I still think there's more downside in a lot of these trades. So as they continue to work, if they continue to work, I'll point out the key levels where I'm going to look to cover, here in the future. This trade, you really got the sell signal right about here, but we'll just go give it the benefit of the doubt here. And if you took that trade, you're profitable by about 7%. And at the lows down here, where I covered initially, you were profitable by, as you fell to support. In this area, you're profitable by about 13-14%. Okay, another trade idea that worked so far. Here's DraftKings, selling off 4% today, breaking this upward trend. So DraftKings has the major trend line right here on the daily chart. You can see we were walking up that trend line. We put in a head and shoulders top with also negative divergence, telling us we're going to break trend. There's your break a trend candle right there. We broke trend. And if you took that sell signal, this one, if you took it at the end of the day, you're profitable by about 6%. Okay, it broke, it sold off. We did a back test, we're grinding around. We created this secondary trend line support. You can see we broke below it and they recovered it, but now it's clearly giving it up and selling down today. So it looks like we're going lower. Major level of support on this one. Next level, I guess, is about 35.50, and to me, it looks like we're heading down that way. So, profitable trade as of today. EMR, not profitable trade as of today. So they're not all profitable yet, but I still see this one being I don't see any change technically why this will not become a profitable short trade. Here's your clear sell signal right here. If you took this at the end of the day, you would be underwater by about 5%. So that is a non-profitable trade yet, but you got to give it some room, because the thing is that here's the upward trend line right there. We had negative divergence. See the momentum dropping off on this one, and there's a sell signal. So we're just back testing, kind of grinding higher. I do have, the chart tells me this is still going to roll over and we're going to work our way lower. Not profitable as of right now. FITB, I pointed this one out. Here's an uptrend line from the March 2020 lows. We had negative divergence right here, up in here. There's your sell signal right there. And if you took that at the end of the day, you would be profitable now at almost 8% profitable. So there's another trade idea that worked. GM, I pointed this one out. This one's about break even, but here's your upward price channel here. I still think this is going to work, but you had negative divergence right here at this high. There's your sell signal. And if you took this at the end of the day, you would be underwater by about 1%. So negligible, loss right now. You got to give it some room. We're still trading below this trend line. I think we're likely still heading lower. Next level of support. Once you break this level right here at 54.63, we should head down to 46.90, 47 area. So got to give that one a little room, but still looks okay. JCI, another one that's not profitable. Here's the sell signal right here. If you took this at the end of the day, you would be underwater right now at about 6%. This one, you have the March 2020 lows uptrend line, negative divergence. We broke, and we've just been kind of walking below this trend line. This one's likely going to impulsively break when the market breaks. When triple Qs breaks, will probably break. Any day now, I'd expect this to start to roll over. Negative divergence is still intact. So these are all just new divergent highs that we're making. Likely we're going to fail and head down to 62.37. Next level of support below that, 52.53. And below that, 48. So those are levels on that one to watch. LPX, this one, if you took it, here's your sell signal. Uptrend line on this one right there. Head and shoulders top. Negative divergence intact. Again, these negative divergences are what were telling me that we're going to get a trend reversal before it shows up. This one, if you took it, here's your sell signal. And if you took this one, you're basically profitable by about 2% or so as of today. Not a lot, but still profitable. Kind of working its way sideways. I think it's going to work its way lower over time, but profitable trade as of right now. Let's go through some of these other ones. MGM, pointed this one out. Here's your uptrend line that I've had on this one. Bearish rising wedge. Each new high was a divergent high. There's your sell signal or a break of trend. Again, these are trade setups that I was pointing out all through here, and I talked about the sell signal when it came out. And if you took that sell signal at the end of the day, you were profitable by about 2% or so, a little bit, 2.5%. So not much, but still working. The trade's still working, and I think it's just getting started to the downside, to be honest. So we're going to look for, I see a good level of support right here at 34. So I think we're at minimum target at 34 and potential to head all the way down here to this 23, but definitely 34 as the minimum target. Charles Schwab, again, this one, uptrend line right here. I talked about that. Your sell signal really came right about there on this day. And if you took that sell signal, then you would be profitable as of right now about 3%. So it's a profitable trade. Not by much, but again, downtrends don't usually start just with impulsive, usually you get a sell signal and then you kind of work your way lower over time. And then as the downtrend becomes obvious, that's where you see the selling start to increase. So we're kind of in that area now on a lot of these trades where it's starting to become obvious that there's a downtrend, but not quite there yet. We're working our way lower. I expect the selling to increase over time. Here's SeaWorld. This one just started, so here's your uptrend line there. You have negative divergence, telling us we're going to get a reversal of trend. And your sell signal, I think your sell signal really came here on this day. It wasn't solid enough right there. So I'd say there, if you took it at the end of the day, you're pretty much flat. It's kind of a break-even trade as of right now. But still below trend. We were rejected off resistance. I think we're heading lower. Next level of support on this one's about 43, and then we've got a level down here at 35.90. So watch those levels. I think those are likely going to get hit. Toll Brothers, March 2020 lows. Here's your uptrend line. We had negative divergence. I started talking about the trade, and there's your sell signal, which I pointed out on this channel. So if you took this trade at the end of the day, then you're profitable by about 8% as of right now. So there's another profitable trade. For all the trades that I point out that never work out, there's another one that is working out. Okay, Tesla. So Tesla, you have the daily uptrend line right here, and I talked about this trend line. I was waiting for a break of trend. There's your break of trend. So if you took the trade, as of right now, you're not profitable. You're underwater by about 5% on the trade. But again, you were profitable initially, sold down. We're kind of working our way up the secondary trend line. I think it's very likely that we're going to break. I don't see any indication in the momentum indicators that we're not heading lower over time. So I'm looking for a break of this secondary trend line right here, and that should bring us down to the next level of major support, about 460. So not a profitable trade as of right now, but still looking good. URI, this is when I talked about, here's your uptrend line off March 2020 lows, negative divergence at the highs. There's your sell signal right there. And if you took that at the end of the day, you're basically break even, but you're profitable by about 1%. So it's not much, but still working. Here's Winnebago. Again, March 2020 lows, uptrend line, negative divergence at the high. It's the same story. Every setup is basically the same on these short trades. And the long trades are essentially the reverse. But there's your sell signal. You had a big gap down in the daily close. If you took this trade on the sell signal when I pointed it out, and I talked about the trade well in advance as it's setting up, I talk about the trade day in and day out, even though the trade hasn't triggered. And this is where I get all the haters telling me that, I'm wrong. It's going higher. It keeps grinding higher every day and day out. Then it breaks impulsively. This trade, if you took it at the daily close with the sell signal, you would be profitable now by about 17%. It's fallen 17% so far. So double-digit gainer on that one for another profitable trade. We can flip over to some of the gold miners. Now, again, those are just some of the winners. There's obviously some trades that haven't worked out, and not all of my trades are going to work out. So I'm not, I'm really not trying to say that every single trade, 100% of my trades work. That's unrealistic. But I am pointing out, for people that say none of my trades work out, well, I'm obviously pointing out some winners here. Here's HMY, which is Harmony. Talked about buying this one just recently, kind of adding to it in this area right here. Now, again, I've owned this one for a while, so I did ride this big fall down. But again, I also bought it down here. So I bought the trade down here. It was up by about 30-40%. I'm looking for kind of the next leg higher. I did sell some of my major gold miners. This one so I added more to the position down here. But since we basically broke out to the bullish side, this thing's up. 10% or so, about 9.5% from this area. So I think the miners are just starting to head higher, and they're all looking bullish down in these areas. So I've kind of pointed that out over a lot of these videos. Okay, so those are some trades that have worked, and there's obviously ones that haven't. Here's a trade setup, American Eagle. Guys, if you haven't left me a thumbs up by now, please do so. If you guys are finding value in this content, I do appreciate that. And then also check out the technical analysis course. It's a course that will teach you how to use the charts to find these trades and how to trade it, how to manage risk, how to look for risk-reward trades and measure that so you're taking trades that have high probability of success. Link in the description below. All right, so here is the American Eagle. All right, here's your uptrend line coming off April timeframe, but basically the COVID lows of 2020. Uptrend line here. At the high, we are starting to build negative divergence. See the momentum, how we're starting to drop off and downtrend in momentum, and yet price continues to kind of pop. That's because people are exiting the trade, but there's still some people that think that that this thing's going up forever, because there's always people involved in stocks and trading that will never know when it's going to reverse, and they'll just always buy it. Those are the bag holders. There's always some of those. And you've got, a new divergent high right here. We're looking for a break of this trend line, this upward trend line right there. We don't have it yet, so I don't know when it's going to come. But again, this can grind around, but boom, we're going to break, or most likely going to break. And when we do, or if we do, 30.65 is the first level of support. And then we've got about 26 flat on that one. So again, this is the exact same setup as all those other trades that I pointed out that have worked and are profitable trades. This one has not triggered yet, though, so no reason to short this thing until we get that sell signal. But I'm keeping an eye on it, so when I see that, I'm going to point it out. If you guys have any stocks you want me to look at or any other individual trade ideas, anything that looks interesting, leave a comment below. I'll scan those comments and try to look through those charts and see if anything looks interesting. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to scan and see how things turn out. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.